Okay, so this is a video for Math 130. So I'm going to review how to enter data in from the keyboard, in particular in this case, integers and double values. And then I'm going to show you how to enter data when you're writing a solution to a zyLab. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to open up Eclipse. And so let me just share this. Of course, I did this wrong already. I'm going to share the screen. And here's Eclipse. I'm going to share Eclipse. And so you see that I have this one file here, this Java class test3, and I have a main method. And so this is something that you'll actually see in your Xi book. They have the import java.util.scanner at the top. And then here on line 7, we declare what's called a scanner variable. And a scanner variable is just this built-in variable type that allows us to read in data either from a keyboard or from a file. And that system in just means the keyboard. This is another way of saying the keyboard. The key refers to the keyboard of our computer. Later on, maybe we'll see how we can read in data from a text file. Anyway, so let's continue here. So I have declared two variables, x and y. Okay, so why do I need this import? What you see this import here? The full name of this, Java has some strange features to it. So the full name of that variable type is java.util.scanner. And so we don't want to type that in every time. So we type this in like on line 1 at the top. And then from then on, we can just use scanner instead of saying java.util.scanner. Okay, so x and y, presently they don't have a value. Right? And so like x has, we don't see like x is assigned something. So we want to assign something to x, and we don't want to do it, we don't want to hard code it. We don't want to go like x is assigned 6 or x is assigned 7, because we don't want to have to rewrite our programs every time. So I'm going to prompt the user here and say, this is typically what you do when you want to read data from the keyboard. You ask the user, to enter data. So enter an int value. And this, see, we prompt the user. It's just like you're at an ATM. Aren't you, at some point you're told, enter the amount you want to take out. Otherwise, well, until you enter how much you want, the ATM is just going to, just wait until it gets the amount of money. And how would you know how to enter a number if you weren't prompted to do that? So we prompt the user to enter a number, and this is how we actually enter the data. How we get assigned a data, that integer variable x, it's defined in line 8. X is assigned, the name of the scanner variable is scnr, and then we use this thing called next int, it's followed by parentheses. Okay, so assign data entered, or I'll change it, and assign int entered from the keyboard to x. Okay, so I'm just going to run the program right now. So you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, but let's just see here. I'm going to run this. Run as Java application. Now if you can see there, so now the output window is above the program. Okay, and so we have to put our cursor in the output window. We don't want to enter data, and we don't want to have it in the actual code file for the code. So we put our cursor up here, and notice how the program is now just kind of looks like it's stuck right here at line 12. It says enter an int value, and it's see that scanner.nextInt? It's waiting for the user to enter an integer, and until we do that, the program just halts, just like an ATM machine can't do anything until you enter a number, like how much money do you want to take out of your bank account. Anyway, so let's just enter one of our favorite integers, which is 34. And now the program will end. Okay, so let's just let's just do the same thing. And then we're actually going to print out the value. So now we also have a double y. So let's just do the same thing. How can a double value is a number? A double value is a number with a decimal point, where int doesn't have a decimal point. So I'm going to say enter a double value. And now instead of next int, I can type here. It just backspace. So it's next double. And this, so now we have enter an int value, and we assign an int value to x, enter a double value, and now let's actually display what the user enters. System.out.println, and I'll go x equals, and one of the things we did in the, we've been talking about in the lecture, when the print line can be a combination of variables and strings. Remember, strings are just a sequence of characters with double quotes. And we have to join the strings and the variables with a plus sign. And so it's like addition. So when you add a string and a variable, it just combines them. So it's not like adding numbers. So I'm going to put x and then plus again. Now I want a string that has a blank space plus I'm going to do. I'm going to put y equals plus y. I think that's what we want. Yeah, x equals x plus y equals y. X is the int, y is the double. And let's just run this again. Okay. Okay, so enter an int value. So our favorite integer is 34. And now it says enter a double value. It's at line 4. No, it's actually at line 15, waiting for us to enter a double value. We can actually enter an integer at this point because you can assign an integer to double, but not the other way around. Let's enter 3.4. Okay, so, and then we press enter again. And now see, it prints a display, it echoes what we entered. And see, now if I want to give different values to x and y, we just run this again. Once again, it says enter an int value. Make sure the cursor is in the output window. So how about 100? And then how about enter a double value? How about 1.4? And see now, once again, it just echoes whatever it is that we just entered. So x now is 100 and y is 1.4. So what we see here is that we can actually assign new values to x and y without having to write the program every time. And now we're going to do something similar to like this in a zyLab. But the method that we especially need, or this function that we need to read in data from the keyboard, an integer, because that's what the zyLab is going to have as integers, is next int. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to share zyLabs, if I can find it. zyLab, I think, oh, right here. Okay, so this is visible to you. It's zyLab 2.3.2.1, and I'll eventually assign this, so you'll pretty much have it done if you watch this. Okay, so once again, they have some of it there for us. They have the import java.util.scanner and the declare that scanner variable. Let's read the instructions. So we have to declare. Okay, so given 4 values representing counts of quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies, convert these coins into dollars and cents. So like every quarter is 0.25, every dime is 0.10, every nickel is 0.05 because it's 5 pennies, and every penny is $0.01. And then we're going to use this kind of looks new here. It is new. This printf, it looks a little bit. It is confusing, and it's kind of like a print line. And that F means formatted output, because when we print dollars, we always want to make sure it has 2 decimal places of accuracy. So let's say we assign the number of dollars is like $1.10. It's very possible that if you try to display that, it prints out 1.1. But we never say you have, but we always have 2 decimal places to the right of a dollar. It was like 1.00. Okay, so what happens in these printfs? So you see there's a string, first double quote, second double quote. It displays everything in this string, but you see when you get that percent. Okay, so for every percent in that string, there better be a variable following the comma. We only have 1%, and so we have this variable called dollars, and you replace everything from percent to F with the value stored in dollars. So the F means decimal point. I know F, it's not intuitive. And then that 0.2 means display the number with 2 decimal places of accuracy. Remember that \n means new line, because a print line automatically does a line break where printf will not. So, and if that seems hard to you, it's because it is a little bit hard, but we're not so worried about that right now. Remember, our goal here is we're going to read in data from the keyboard, and how do we use it, and how do we enter that data in a zyLab? So let's just finish the program. So we're going to declare 4 variables, one for quarters, and then an int for dimes is the next one, and then int nickels, and then int pennies. And we're going to promptly, now students, I have to put a semicolon here. Now, one thing I've seen in the book, this is what I told you before in the previous example, we want to prompt the user for data. Now, the one thing I've noticed in the Zy book, they don't always prompt, because we know what data, the idea is that every time you do a next int or a next line or a next, anytime you do you do a next to get data from the keyboard, we prompt the user to tell them to enter data. But since we wrote the code, we know this data is going to be entered. So first we're going to assign a value to quarters, and we're going to go scanner.nextInt. So we're going to enter the whoops, and my typing is terrible. Okay, got distracted there. Next int. And then we're going to do the same thing for dimes. We're going to read in the data. If I could do this. The typing is the most challenging part. And then what are nickels? And scrcnr.nextInt. And then pennies. And so for every one of these next ints, we have to enter a number from the keyboard. Okay, since I know the next int is there, I know I'm going to have to enter data. So we're going to have to enter 4 integers. And this is what's kind of unique about with the zybook is a little bit different. So when you're writing these zybook labs and you have a next, any kind of next int, next double, that's next line, there's next line, next int, next double. We just enter the input right in this text area box right here. And you have to pre-enter it before you run the program. So we're saying we're going to enter, so notice that it's quarters, dimes, it's in that order. Quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies. So in this example, we enter 10 quarters, 3 dimes, 4 nickels, and 5 cents. So like, what would that be? So that's $2.50 for the quarters. And then you add on the dimes, that's $2.80. You add on the nickels, that's another 20 cents. So that's 3, and then 5 pennies. So that looks like $3.05 to me. Oh, sorry, I think I ran it earlier. That looks familiar. And then all you have to do is run program. And it's a little bit slow. And so now I have, I thought I didn't have an error because, I could say I did that intentionally, but I didn't. Okay, so, okay, but do you see how it points out the error? So it doesn't, so that's the one thing about Eclipse might have reported it as a compiler error because next returns, the next actually returns a string where pennies is an int. Okay, so all we have to do is, it says incompatible types, line 14. So line 14, it tells you the line number. And now I just have to go in there and edit that. Okay. And so let's just do that again. So before we run the program, we make sure we need 4 pieces of data. We do it on a separate line. Now let's do run program again. It's a little bit slow. So your program produced no output because that's because your instructor forgot to put the print line statement in. Okay, so students, we're supposed to output the amount of money. So let's just, sorry about this, students. So let's just do one more thing here. So I'm going to declare another variable called dollars, and then I'm going to assign. I'm sorry, it's going to be double dollars. Okay, so now we're going to convert the quarters, nickels, the quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies to dollars. So remember, so this is something we learned in algebra probably a long time ago. Every quarter is $0.25, right? So if I have 2 quarters, I have 50 cents. Or if I have 5 quarters, I have $1.25. Now let's add on the dimes. So dimes times 0.10. Yeah, because so every dime is $0.1. And then now nickels, so it's 0.05. So sometimes I see people making mistakes. They put 0.5 instead of 0.05. So if you put 50, if you did this, that would mean every nickel is worth 50 cents, which would be great if you have a lot of nickels at home. Okay, so but it's only, but it's that wouldn't be correct. And now pennies is so times 0.01. Okay, so now we've converted, so we enter, so in this case, for this program, we'd be entering 10 quarters, 3 dimes, 4 nickels, and 5 pennies. And this is how you convert it to dollars. And now we're going to print it out with this great, they showed us the print line statement, a printf statement. So I'm just going to copy this. So why, okay, let me just try this one more time. It's a little bit, oh, there it goes. So now we print this. I can get rid of type your code right here. Okay, now let's try running this again. It actually ran without error. It just didn't do, without a printf, it's not going to, or print line, it's not going to display anything. Let's try this one more time. Run program. And see the amount was, see now, see look what it prints. And so if you look at that printf, it says amount, and that's what we see amount. After amount, we see the colon, and we see the colon here. Well, then there's a space and a dollar sign. We see that. Now we don't see that 0.2f in the output. What it does, it prints out the amount stored in dollars, which in this case is $3, 3.05. And it guarantees, because of that 0.2f, that guarantees we're going to get 2 decimal places of accuracy. Let's just do this again. So let's change this to, let's just reduce it by $1. So let's make it 6 quarters. So now that should turn in, so you can run this as many times as you want. And now we should get, I took away 4 quarters, so it should be $2.05. And see it is. And so then we're done. And so I'm just gonna, so I'm actually going to stop sharing here, right here. And so I guess then when you're ready, you could just press submit mode. I'm gonna stop sharing. And I'm gonna stop the recording. Well, since in case you've actually gotten this far, remember you always feel free to send mail at any time, because it's not like we're gonna run into each other on campus, or you can knock on my door in office hours. So I'm gonna stop the recording.